Angela Thompson, a distinguished African-American judge, arrives at the Manhattan Elite Club, an iconic symbol of exclusivity nestled in the heart of New York City. Dressed in an elegant evening gown, Angela is ready to attend a prestigious event celebrating influential figures in the legal world. As she approaches the entrance, she is filled with anticipation, eager to engage with peers and continue advocating for justice and equality. Upon reaching the club's grand entrance, Angela is met by a uniformed security guard who stops her abruptly. "I'm sorry, ma'am. This is an exclusive event. You're not on the guest list," he states, his tone dismissive and firm. Angela, taken aback by the abruptness of the interaction, calmly explains her invitation and identity. Despite her composed demeanor and the legitimacy of her presence, the guard remains unmoved, reiterating that she cannot enter. Angela's surprise turns to indignation as she realizes the underlying prejudice driving the guard's decision. Her reputation as a fair and just judge, celebrated for her relentless fight against discrimination, seems irrelevant in the face of the club's rigid exclusivity. The encounter is not just a personal affront, but a stark reminder of the systemic barriers that persist in elite spaces. Nearby, a young journalist named Emily witnesses the exchange and instinctively begins recording the interaction on her phone. The video captures Angela's dignified attempts to reason with the guard, juxtaposed with the guard's unwavering refusal. Within hours, the footage is shared across social media platforms, quickly going viral and igniting a wave of public outrage. Support for Angela pours in from all corners, with individuals and organizations expressing solidarity and condemning the blatant discrimination. The incident becomes a catalyst for a broader conversation about racial and social discrimination in elite spaces, challenging long-standing norms and sparking a movement for change. The morning after the incident, the media landscape is dominated by coverage of Angela Thompson's experience at the Manhattan Elite Club. Major news outlets, talk shows, and online platforms buzz with discussions about the blatant discrimination faced by the esteemed judge. Angela's poised response to the situation and her refusal to be silenced resonate deeply with audiences across the nation. Angela is inundated with requests for interviews from prominent news networks, eager to amplify her story and explore the broader implications of the incident. In one of her first televised appearances, Angela recounts the events of the previous evening with clarity and conviction. She emphasizes the pervasive nature of discrimination in spaces that claim to be progressive and inclusive, highlighting the need for systemic change. Her words strike a chord with viewers, sparking widespread debates about racism, privilege, and the barriers faced by marginalized communities in elite settings. Angela's story becomes a rallying point for those who have experienced similar prejudices, inspiring individuals to share their own encounters with discrimination. Meanwhile, the Manhattan Elite Club finds itself at the center of a growing controversy. Richard Harrington, the club's president, issues a public statement attempting to downplay the incident as a misunderstanding. However, his words only serve to intensify the public's ire, as critics accuse the club of trying to sweep the issue under the rug. The club's attempts to contain the damage are met with skepticism and derision, further fueling the public's outrage. Angela's story, now a symbol of resilience and justice, continues to gain traction, drawing attention to the systemic issues that underpin the incident. As the media frenzy unfolds, Angela remains steadfast in her commitment to advocating for change. She recognizes the power of her platform and uses it to amplify the voices of those who have been silenced, calling for a re-evaluation of the values and practices that perpetuate discrimination in elite spaces. As the media spotlight intensifies, Angela Thompson finds herself reflecting on her journey and the experiences that have shaped her. Flashbacks transport her to her childhood in a modest neighborhood, where she was raised by her resilient single mother, Linda. Linda worked tirelessly to provide for Angela and her siblings, instilling in them the values of hard work, perseverance, and integrity. Angela recalls the vibrant community that surrounded her, filled with neighbors who looked out for one another and shared in each other's joys and struggles. Despite the challenges they faced, there was a sense of solidarity and hope that permeated their lives. A pivotal moment in Angela's youth was meeting Mrs. Johnson, her inspiring fifth-grade teacher, Mrs. Johnson recognized Angela's potential and encouraged her to pursue her dreams, regardless of the obstacles she might encounter. Her unwavering belief in Angela's abilities left a lasting impact, fueling Angela's determination to succeed. Angela's journey through high school and law school was marked by numerous instances of bias and discrimination. She encountered professors and peers who doubted her capabilities, questioning her place in the legal field. Despite these challenges, Angela remained steadfast in her pursuit of justice. Drawing strength from her mother's sacrifices and Mrs. Johnson's encouragement, the nights spent studying by candlelight, driven by the desire to make a difference, are etched in Angela's memory. She recalls the moments of doubt and uncertainty, as well as the triumphs that reaffirmed her commitment to her goals. These memories remind Angela why she became a judge, to uphold justice and challenge systemic inequities. The incident at the club is just another hurdle in her lifelong journey, and she is determined not to let it deter her. Instead, Angela resolves to use her platform to advocate for change, drawing strength from her past and the support of those around her. Inside the opulent walls of the Manhattan Elite Club, tension simmers as members gather for an emergency meeting to address the fallout from the incident involving Angela Thompson. Richard Harrington, the club's president, stands before the assembled members, grappling with his own conscience as he addresses the group. "We need to address what happened and consider the implications for our club," he begins, his voice tinged with unease. The room is filled with murmurs of dissent and defense as members debate the club's future. Some, like the young and progressive Marcus, challenge the club's exclusivity, arguing that it is time to embrace diversity and reflect the changing values of society. "We can't ignore the changing times," Marcus asserts. "We should be embracing diversity, not shunning it." His words resonate with a few, but others are resistant, clinging to tradition and the perceived prestige of exclusivity. The debate becomes heated, revealing deep divides within the club's ranks. Some members threaten to resign if changes are made, while others voice their support for a more inclusive approach. As the discussion unfolds, Richard finds himself questioning his own beliefs. He has always valued the club's status and the sense of belonging it provides, but now wonders if maintaining it is worth the cost of perpetuating discrimination. The meeting ends without a clear resolution, but the seeds of change have been planted. The club stands at a crossroads, forced to confront its values and the societal pressures demanding transformation. The incident with Angela has ignited a moral reckoning, challenging members to reconsider what their exclusivity truly represents and whether it aligns with the principles of equality and justice. The debate within the club mirrors the broader societal struggle between tradition and progress, as institutions across the country grapple with similar questions of identity and inclusion. The path forward is uncertain, but the conversation has begun, and the potential for change is palpable. Inspired by Angela's story and the broader conversation about equality and justice, a group of young activists mobilizes to support her cause. Led by Sarah, a passionate and driven university student, they take to social media, launching a campaign under the hashtag #CheerJusticeForAngela. The movement quickly gains traction, resonating with people across the country who are eager for change and tired of systemic discrimination. Sarah and her peers organize a series of peaceful protests outside the Manhattan Elite Club, drawing attention to the broader issues of racial and social discrimination. Their message is clear. It's time for institutions to reflect the diversity and inclusivity of modern society. They call for transparency, accountability, and a commitment to dismantling the barriers that have long excluded marginalized communities. The movement captures the imagination of the public, with celebrities, influencers, and community leaders lending their voices to the cause. The hashtag #JusticeForAngela becomes a rallying cry for those advocating for equality and justice, transcending social and cultural boundaries. Angela watches the movement unfold with a mixture of pride and hope. She is moved by the dedication and energy of the young activists, who remind her of her own youthful determination. Their efforts invigorate her, reinforcing her belief that change is possible and that the fight for justice is a collective endeavor. As the movement grows, it becomes a powerful force for social change, challenging institutions to reevaluate their policies and practices. Angela's fight for justice has sparked a nationwide dialogue, galvanizing a new generation to take action and demand a more equitable future. The movement's impact extends beyond the immediate issue, inspiring other communities to organize and advocate for their rights. It serves as a testament to the power of grassroots activism and the potential for ordinary individuals to effect extraordinary change. The momentum continues to build, driven by a shared vision of a more just and inclusive society. The national conversation reaches its peak with a highly anticipated televised debate, where Angela is invited to discuss her experiences alongside members of the Manhattan Elite Club, including Richard Harrington. The event attracts a large audience, eager to witness the clash of perspectives and the potential for meaningful dialogue. Angela approaches the debate with poise and determination, ready to articulate the need for systemic change. As the moderator introduces the topic, Angela shares her story, emphasizing the importance of inclusion and the dangers of elitism. Her words are powerful, resonating with viewers across the country who have followed her journey and are invested in the outcome. Richard, facing mounting pressure from both the public and within the club, struggles to defend the club's policies. He acknowledges the need for change, but is hesitant to fully embrace the reforms Angela advocates. The debate becomes a microcosm of the larger societal struggle between tradition and progress, as Richard grapples with the implications of altering the club's long-standing practices. As the discussion unfolds, Angela's sincerity and passion win over many in the audience. She challenges the status quo, urging viewers to consider the impact of their actions and the legacy they wish to leave behind. Her message is clear. True justice requires courage and a willingness to embrace change, even when it is uncomfortable or challenging. The debate is marked by moments of tension and introspection, as both Angela and Richard confront their own beliefs and the broader societal forces at play. By the end of the debate, the hashtag Justice for Angela has become a symbol of unity and resistance, echoing across social media and beyond. The event marks a turning point in the public's perception of the issue, galvanizing support for Angela's cause and pushing the club to confront its own shortcomings. It serves as a reminder of the power of dialogue and the potential for change when individuals are willing to engage in honest and open conversations about the issues that matter most. As public pressure mounts, the Manhattan Elite Club finds itself at a critical juncture. The outcry from Angela's supporters and the relentless activism of Sarah's group forced the club to reevaluate its policies. Richard Harrington, feeling the weight of public scrutiny and internal division, begins to consider implementing changes. The movement led by Sarah continues to gain momentum, drawing in more young activists who are passionate about creating a more inclusive society. Their protests and campaigns capture the attention of political leaders, who are compelled to address the issue of institutional discrimination and consider legislative measures to promote equality. Angela, now a prominent figure in the fight for equality, collaborates with other activists and community leaders to strategize on promoting systemic change. She uses her platform to advocate for policies that foster diversity and inclusion, both within the club and in broader society. Her efforts are supported by a growing coalition of allies, including civil rights organizations, legal experts, and influential public figures. The pressure on the club intensifies as more members voice their support for reform. Richard, realizing the need for action, starts to engage in discussions about potential changes to the club's membership policies. The once unyielding institution begins to show signs of transformation, as members grapple with the implications of maintaining exclusivity in a rapidly changing world. The struggle for justice becomes a catalyst for broader societal change, inspiring other institutions to reflect on their own practices and consider reforms. Angela's fight has sparked a movement that challenges the status quo and demands a more equitable future, proving that one incident can ignite a powerful call for justice. The momentum of the movement extends beyond the immediate issue, prompting discussions about diversity and inclusion in various sectors, from corporate boardrooms to educational institutions. The call for change resonates across the nation, as individuals and organizations recognize the importance of creating environments that reflect the diversity and richness of society. Faced with mounting pressure and internal division, Richard Harrington calls for an emergency meeting of the Manhattan Elite Club's board. The agenda is clear. Discuss the possibility of reforming the club's exclusive policies to better reflect the values of diversity and inclusion that have become central to the national conversation. Fearing that altering the club's traditions will diminish its prestige and undermine its identity. They argue that exclusivity is a core component of the club's appeal, and that change could alienate long-standing members. Others, however, recognize the need for evolution and advocate for a more inclusive approach. They argue that embracing diversity will enhance the club's reputation and ensure its relevance in a changing world. These members see the potential for the club to become a leader in promoting inclusivity and setting an example for other institutions. Richard Dye, having reflected on his own beliefs and the feedback from both members and the public, proposes the formation of a committee dedicated to exploring ways to open the club to a broader range of members. His suggestion is met with mixed reactions, but a growing number of members express their support for the initiative, recognizing the potential for positive change. The meeting marks a significant turning point for the club as it begins to grapple with its identity and the role it plays in a changing society. The seeds of change have been planted, and the club must decide whether to embrace a future that values inclusivity over exclusivity. Angela is invited to participate in discussions with the club, bringing her perspective and insights to the table. Her involvement signifies a step towards reconciliation and collaboration as the club takes its first steps towards meaningful change. The path forward is uncertain, but the commitment to progress is clear. In a gesture of goodwill and a desire to bridge divides, Angela and Richard meet for an informal dinner to discuss their visions for the future. The setting is relaxed and intimate, a stark contrast to the tension and public scrutiny that have surrounded their interactions thus far. Over dinner, Richard opens up about his fears and insecurities. He admits that his attachment to the club's exclusivity stemmed from a desire to maintain his status and the prestige associated with it. Richard shares his concerns about the potential backlash from long-standing members and the uncertainty of navigating change in an institution steeped in tradition. Angela listens intently, understanding the complexities of Richard's position. She acknowledges the challenges of balancing tradition with progress and the fear of losing one's sense of identity in the process. Her empathy and willingness to engage in dialogue create an atmosphere of trust and openness. In turn, Angela shares her own struggles and the challenges she has faced in her journey. She speaks candidly about the barriers she has encountered and the sacrifices she has made to reach her position. Angela emphasizes the importance of empathy and collaboration in achieving justice and equality, highlighting the potential for growth and enrichment that diversity brings. Her words resonate with Richard, who begins to see the potential for positive change and the value of embracing diversity. He recognizes that inclusivity is not a threat, but an opportunity to enrich the club's culture and broaden its appeal. As the evening draws to a close, Angela and Richard find common ground in their shared commitment to creating a more inclusive society. Their meeting symbolizes the power of dialogue and understanding in bridging divides and fostering change. It marks a turning point in their relationship, as they move from adversaries to allies in the fight for justice. In a public ceremony attended by community leaders, activists, and club members, Angela is honored for her courageous stand against discrimination and her tireless advocacy for justice. The event is a celebration of resilience and progress, symbolizing the transformative power of empathy and collaboration. Richard Harrington takes the stage, delivering a heartfelt apology on behalf of the Manhattan Elite Club. His words are sincere and introspective, acknowledging the club's past mistakes and expressing a commitment to change. Richard's speech marks a significant moment of reconciliation, as he recognizes the need for the club to evolve and embrace the values of diversity and inclusion. The ceremony marks a significant milestone in the journey towards reconciliation. Richard announces the launch of a new inclusion program aimed at diversifying the club's membership and fostering a culture of acceptance. Angela is appointed to lead the initiative, working alongside young activists like Sarah to implement meaningful reforms and ensure that the club reflects the diversity of modern society. As the ceremony concludes, a sense of hope and unity fills the air. Angela and Richard, once adversaries, now stand together as allies in the fight for justice. Their partnership symbolizes the potential for positive change when individuals are willing to engage in honest and open dialogue. The film ends with a scene of celebration, where Angela, Richard, and a diverse group of young people come together in a joyful display of solidarity. The moment encapsulates the themes of hope and unity, highlighting the progress made and the ongoing journey towards a just and inclusive society. The ceremony serves as a testament to the power of resilience and collaboration in overcoming prejudice and building a brighter future. It inspires viewers to reflect on their own roles in promoting justice and equality and encourages them to continue advocating for change in their communities.
Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.